The push is aggressive with new policy in New South Wales. Sydney will introduce 112,000 new residential units to the market within 5 years.
Sydney could be on the verge of a planning tug-of-war as the state government moves to override council rules. It's the next step in the Premier's push to see hundreds of thousands of new houses built, and it means more dense living.
These homes are predominantly located in the Greater Sydney area, with numbers increasing and the density growing higher as one moves closer to the city centre and major transportation hubs, including big train stations. Now, local governments everywhere have started to express their positions. Some support it, others do not. Even local governments have taken to protesting with banners and seeking support on TikTok, creating a scene like a demonstration. It's quite a spectacle. However entertaining as it may be, this is not particularly good news for us Australian real estate investors. This policy will probably be implemented with minor adjustments. So which councils will see property prices rise and which will see them fall? How will real estate investment change during the 5-year period of significant development and construction? And what about during the subsequent mature period? To buy or not to buy a house? By the end of this video, you will find out. I'm Alex, welcome to Oz Property Strategy, where I share information about real estate investment, economic trends, and wealth creation. If you like this video, smash the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell to watch new weekly videos. Without further ado, let's get into it. Let's first revisit the content of this policy, laying the groundwork for my analysis. The New South Wales government, through direct state-level power, plans to increase the housing density on almost all lands in New South Wales over the next 5 years, adding 112,000 residential units to the market. This constitutes approximately a third of the 377,000 new homes New South Wales have committed to the federal government to build over 5 years. In the Greater Sydney area, there are 33 local governments, such as the ones we're familiar with, the City of Sydney, the City of Parramatta, the Hills Shire, all of which are referred to as Local Government Area, LGAs. Each LGA operates independently, working to benefit its residents, who are also its voters. Therefore, each LGA has different regulations for approving development and construction projects to reflect the best interest of its residents. The Local Environment Plan, LEP, is a guiding document for development and construction approvals that each LGA drafts and must adhere to. Naturally, the LEPs vary from one LGA to another. In the LEP, the most crucial provision is what each lot of land can be used for, also known as zoning. In New South Wales, there are a total of 35 zoning types, of which 5 are related to residential uses, R1 to R5. To put it simply, R2 is for low density, allowing for detached or semi-detached houses. R3 is for medium density, suitable for townhouses or villas. R4 is for high density, allowing for the construction of high-rise apartments. Of course, the actual application is much more complex than this. So what changes are being made? There are several key points. Due occupancy is allowed on all R2 zones across New South Wales, meaning 2 residential units can be developed on a single block of land. This can include duplexes with shared walls or granny flats. In R2 zones near transport hubs or city centres, the development of townhouses, separately titled terraces, or 1-storey low-rise apartment buildings, or 2-storey low-rise apartment buildings is permitted. In R3 zones within 800 metres radius of transport hubs, city centres, and employment centres, the development of 3 to 6-storey medium-density apartment buildings is allowed. By now, you can probably have a feel of how many new homes New South Wales will introduce, with housing density near all train stations and employment centres increasing by an order of magnitude. But that's not the most drastic part. Previously, each LGA had its own governance and approval process, which could take years even if approval was granted. Well, not anymore. The state government is bypassing local government approval processes and is expected to enter the application phase in the second half of 2024. This will profoundly impact the residential property supply and the construction industry across New South Wales. Our investment logic as ordinary investors must also be adjusted. So what impact will this have on various local governments? To give you the conclusion first, a devastating impact. Let me show you a few examples to illustrate. City of Ryde. In the next 5 years, the City of Ryde is set to see an increase of 43,000 homes with a population boost of 107,000. This is equivalent to 83% of the current population of Ryde, almost double. It is hard to imagine how, within just 5 years, so many people appear out of thin air under pressure on the infrastructure. This assumes that all available lots are developed, which clearly can't be achieved so quickly. But it paints a picture of a future where people are crammed together, looking up only to see residential buildings everywhere with no sky in sight. Macquarie Park, densely populated with apartments, it's set for further development, adding another 5,000 apartments. Just imagine the entire Macquarie Park employment zone filled with residential buildings. Waverley, home to the famous Bondi Beach, is in an even more dire situation. Modern residential buildings will now overtake areas that once had a sense of history and cultural atmosphere. Words like charm and character will no longer apply to Bondi. More severely, under the new policy, Bondi Beach population is expected to triple. The most significant reason Bondi apartments are valuable is that development restrictions keep supply limited. But what happens to property prices after 5 years is uncertain. Interestingly, the mayor of Fairfield said they're going to turn Western Sydney into Calcutta. I don't know if you grasp the significance of this statement. I've been to Calcutta twice, capturing many photos and videos. Just picture this, streets so crowded with people, there's no room for walking, lanes filled with cars, motorcycles, and even bullock carts, moving side by side without signaling, merging at will and many driving against traffic. Rationally speaking, a major part of Australia's housing crisis is due to immigrants flocking to the country as if it were free, increasing the population faster than housing construction can keep up. The government, needing to boost the economy, has had to massively increase immigration, leading to rising house prices and making it difficult for locals to afford homes. The key issue? Benefits. This is where the problem lies. Too many people are coming to Australia, leading to housing shortages and skyrocketing house prices and rents, making it difficult for young Australians to afford to buy or rent homes, thereby reducing their quality of life. These people are gradually becoming the main voting base for the government. Thus, the government aims to solve the issue of housing supply by easing development approvals and increasing the number of houses to prevent prices from rising too quickly. Now, facing the reality that Sydney cannot expand due to the insufficient infrastructure, which would be too costly to build, especially when the government is short on funds, the only solution is to increase the efficiency of existing urban areas. This means higher residential density and taller buildings, shifting from sprawl to stacking. There's no better solution. However, this solution intended to address the problem is facing strong opposition from many Sydney residents, including the concerns over the pace of infrastructure development like transport, hospitals, supermarkets, kindergartens, and schools, leading to overuse. Even if constructed, there's fear it might end up like the newly opened traffic relief junction in Sydney's Rozelle area, which, despite the investment, ends up congesting the traffic instead of alleviating it. Others worry that new constructions will alter the city's original appearance, block sunlight for existing homes, etc. To me, these seem like mere complaints. People are quick to criticize the government and property investors when young people can't afford homes. But when it comes time to make changes, no one wants to sacrifice their own interests. Just think about it. With Australia's economy struggling, people and the government lacking funds, and no one willing to compromise their interests while still wanting young people to afford homes, how is this possible? So from the perspective of Sydney residents opposing the construction of high-density housing, this opposition helps control supply and push up house prices. In fact, Sydney residents themselves are driving the increase in house prices. How's that for a counterintuitive conclusion? It's just human nature. People inherently seek benefit and avoid harm. Subconsciously, people want to protect their interests. And once those are threatened, the idea of helping young people afford homes without raising prices is quickly forgotten. As long as the widespread opposition to high-density construction and changing the city's appearance exists in Australia, it fuels the drive for higher house prices. As real estate investors, understanding and adapting to the situation can lead to success. Before we end this video, let's look at the opinions of each council in Sydney on the state government's policy, which you can refer to when buying a house. To save time, I'll only show images. You can pause and take screenshots. Green indicates agreement, and red indicates opposition. This reflects one of the most critical factors for the future rise or fall of different property types in the council. If residents oppose high density, there will be resistance to it, and property values, especially in low-density areas, may be stable or even better. Of course, predicting the future involves many factors and requires a comprehensive analysis. If the policy is successfully implemented, the first 5 years of construction won't immediately introduce a large number of units, offering a good opportunity for savvy investors to buy and hold certain properties, and a window for others to cash out. Whether to buy or sell, or what to buy or sell, depends on your situation. Once the major development period ends, the window closes and the market matures, making it harder to make money quickly. If you made it this far, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Turn on the notification bell to watch new weekly videos. And have a good one. Bye.